Hello and welcome to another video. Um, Today we are going to talk about the territories of Canada. I've already made two videos, kind of explaining the provinces a bit, um, so we get an example of them. And now we're going to talk about the territories, which will kind of give us a good look at Canada. Um, I'll try to do one on Mexico. I figure all of North America would be fair. Um, Canada, the US, and Mexico. But I've also got to do more videos on information of countries because so far I've only got Afghanistan and Albania, and as of the making of this video, and I need more put out there. But anyway, as always, have my notes because my memory is about the value of half a penny. Um, and we're going to talk about Canadian territories. So let's go ahead and hop into that, shall we? The first territory we're going to talk about, which there's only three, so the first one will be the Northwest Territories. Its capital and largest city is Yellowknife, and it entered the Canadian Confederation on July the 15th, 1870. Now, it's not very populated, only 41,786 people live there as of 2016. And it is bordered by the Yukon Territory in the west and the Nunavut in the east. British Columbia, Alberta, and Saskatchewan is south of it, and the rest of it is surrounded by the Arctic Ocean or Arctic Sea. Basically, it's towards the very north of um, the northern hemisphere. Um, it was ceded to Canada by the Hudson Bay Company, who laid claim to much of Canada for the fur trade, which the Hudson Bay Company still exists, which I found out, which was interesting to me. I didn't think it was a still existing thing, but I thought most of those early companies like Hudson Bay Company and what was the one for Jamestown? The James, um, or was it the Virginia Company? James Company or Virginia Company? I can't remember. Anyway, that was kind of news to me. Natives were difficult to find, but given that there are 11 recognized languages, I presume it included the Cree, the Chippewayan, the Inuiatun, the Inuktitut, or Inuktitut, and the Inuvialuktun. I may be wrong on that. Some of them may just be languages. There's going to be far less tribes the further you go north, though, just due to the frigid weather. There will still be some tribes that live there, but I do apologize if some of those are just languages and not the actual people. Like I said, it was hard to find actual anything to deal with the natives through immediate lookup. So I don't know why it was so difficult. And the name just describes where it is, because it was named for being the Northwest Territory of Alberta, I believe. Anyway, yeah. I think it because it was northwest of Saskatchewan and Alberta. But this is the Northwest Territory. Maybe because it was northwest of Quebec. Regardless. Regardless. It's essentially because of its placement in regards to Canadian provinces. Now, give me a moment. I've got to pull up the flag here. North. Quit it. Flag. Okay. It seems to have blue borders on it, in which it kind of borders a white center section with the crest of the Northwest Territories on it, which at the top of it kind of looks like your normal shield, which is that little shape there. But at the top, it's got white, blue, and then white again, squiggly lines. And underneath the jagged portion of it, you have a split crest. The bottom half is green with gold bars, and the top half is red with, I'm assuming that is a dog. I'm uncertain. Or perhaps a bear. In some kind of carnivore's face. Fluffy white face. That makes it seem less terrifying, but regardless, that is the flag of the Northwest Territories. Now, let's talk about the Yukon Territory. Get this switched over for Yukon. And for those living in the U.S., there is a brand of vehicle known as the Yukon. I'm not sure how widespread it is internationally, but um, yeah. Anyway, the Yukon or Yukon territories, um, its capital and largest city is Whitehorse. So Yellowknife was the Northwest Territories, and Whitehorse is the Yukon Territories. It entered the Canadian Confederation on June the 13th, 1898. And it has only 35,874 people. And it is bordered by the Northwest Territories to the east of it, Alaska to the west, British Columbia to the south, and then you have a small northern strip that's bordered by the Arctic Ocean Sea, whichever one it is. Um, Now, natives were the um, Guahine. That's the only one I could really find for Yukon. Um, and the territory is named for the Yukon River. Or sorry, not the Guahine, but the Gwich'in. My apologies for that. I'm butchering these native names and words. I do apologize. But the territory is named for the Yukon River, with the name being a contraction of the Gwich'in phrase Chugahon, which means Whitewater River. So Chugahon, Yukon. Now, the Yukon Territory did grow in population in the late 1800s, um, such as being led by this Klondike Gold Rush, and which led it to becoming its own territory for Canada. But essentially, yeah, it's on the western coast or western portion of the country, and bordering Alaska. Now, let's take a look at its flag. The flag is a green block on the left, blue block on the right, so you got that, and in the middle you have a white block with a crest on it. Underneath the crest you have two flowering branches of some kind of flowering plant. I'm unsure there. Above the crest, you have the image of looks like a Siberian husky, um, standing atop a banner, and below it, like I said, is the actual crest with the red stripe in the white box, kind of reminiscent of the British flag, and the oh goodness, in the middle of that stripe you have looks like a blue and white ball, I mean, that's the best I can really describe it. Underneath the British flag portion, you have um, two red peaks with two golden dots in them, and then it's surrounded by blue with a white stream running through them, which I'm assuming is to represent the actual river, the territory of Yukon. And that is the flag of the Yukon Territories. Now, finally, let's talk about Nunavut. All right. Its capital and largest city is Iqaluit or Iqaluit. I'm not sure how it's pronounced. My apologies on that. And it entered the Canadian Confederation on April the 1st, 1999. April Fool's Day, which is kind of interesting. But it's by far the youngest organized territory or province of Canada. 1999. Now, the population is kind of similar to Yukon territory, with only 35,944. I mean, there's not even 100-person difference based on the censuses there. And it is bordered by the Northwest Territories to the west of it, Manitoba to the south, and the rest is kind of bordered by the Arctic Sea, Arctic Ocean, as it kind of heads into the Atlantic. So, let's see. Natives were the Inuktitut. Again, I apologize for butchering the names. And the territory is Inuktitut for our land. Now, an interesting portion of history for Nunavut is a portion of the coast of Baffin Island, which is part of Nunavut, is uh, archaeologically believed to be the Helluland from Norse sagas. So again, you see it tying in to Viking and Norse heritage. Now, let's talk about the flag. It is yellow on the left side, white on the right side, with some sort of symbol in the middle in red. And on the right, I'm not sure how to describe it. It kind of looks like a sword, a little bit, with an oversized hilt. But in the white portion on the right, in the upper right corner, you see a single blue star. and that is the flag of Nunavut. And that would be everything on the territories. All of them, and that will give us some information on the provinces and territories of Canada. Hopefully you get an idea of where these provinces are, where they sit, because honestly, we need, well, to educate ourselves where these provinces are, a bit about them, just as much as we do need to know about Texas and California, which those aren't the only states in the United States. There's 50 of them. Most people only talk about them for some reason. Anyway, as always, educate thyself. Think, read, study, learn. Education is not a bad thing. So, think and read and be able to realize, hey, maybe this isn't exactly what it is or what it's supposed to mean. Or this is exactly what it means. I mean, for goodness sakes, flat earthers and people who don't believe in climate change, it's like, are you that unwilling to learn? Anyway, I'll see you again in the next video, but until then, later.